Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dynasty Racing League. This is the DRL Cup Series. This is DRL TV. My name is Ryan Branch. I'm joined tonight by Martin Wenzel. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning of the screen. Didn't really get to run through the starting order, but out in the front we do have Spencer Tart leading the field to the green flag. Just behind him, Sean Hughes, Wade Hustad, Joseph Heltman, the 02, Anthony Burrows in the 62. And we have Harry Tiller, Tommy Bordeaux. Everything is lagging on me now. Sorry for the rocky start. Did have some technical difficulties. I had a second camera set up there on the YouTube channel, and I don't know why that it got started the way it did, but welcome to the stream. I'm joined tonight by Martin Wenzel. Hopefully things go more smoothly from here on out. Martin, how we doing tonight?
Doing good. Yeah, just an interesting start to this race as well. I mean, you don't have the guy that was on the pole, Justin Devine, in the #1 car. Didn't show up tonight, so I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, he did end up winning that duel last week, or actually he won the qualifying prior to the duel.
Yeah, he got the qualifier, didn't even do the duel. So.
Which the admins, I guess, gave him a special...
yeah, we're not going to allow that next year. Next year it's going to be, you got to come to the duels too. I mean,
exactly.
Participate in the league. But yeah, we got all the new paints out there. That 24 of Eric Wolf, he's lurking there in, what is it, 8th place? It looks like, running that K&N car, K&N filters.
I don't know if the stream looks a little bit choppy or not. I think the whole taskbar issue that I was having a couple minutes ago might be affecting the stream. Hopefully I can fix that during a commercial here very shortly. But we have a big field tonight, huge field, as a matter of fact. I mean, 2019, welcome to the Cup Series. We got a lot of guys who turned out here to race at Daytona.
Yeah, 35 cars on the track, 35 cars, and they are all Cup Series regulars too. This isn't new thing this year where most of the races will be points only drivers, and there will be a few races, I think there's 5 or 6 races in each series that are open to all drivers in the league. But the Daytona 250, the opening race of the Cup season here, just Cup drivers, so 35 guys coming out.
Yeah, which is absolutely awesome. I mean, we know Daytona and Talladega, the plate racing tracks are very popular tracks. That's where most of the drivers tend to show up, no matter what. However, there are, 40-plus drivers in the Cup Series, and there might be a week or two where, we hit that 35 to 40 mark in every single one of these races. I know we go to Atlanta next week, so I can't wait to see what the Dynasty Racing League has to offer this year. It's definitely going to be more exciting, many more cars on track, and some great racing.
I know the summer Daytona race is going to be is an open race, so that one's going to be interesting because I'm sure we're going to have a qualifying to get into that because there's going to be guys from the Grand National Series, and I'm not sure if truck guys can jump all the way up to Cup or not. I can't remember the exact rule on that, but yeah, that's going to be. I know guys are going to want to get into that race, and if there's a strong field of Cup drivers, it might be very hard to get into that race in the summer.
Well, guys, we're only 6 laps in out of 100 here. I'm going to tab out for a second and try to fix some issues and play a couple commercials for you guys. I will be right back. If there is a caution, I will try to get back to the action as quick as possible. But I want the stream quality to be as high as possible for you guys, and it is being a little bit choppy on me right now. So give me just a minute. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Not what I wanted to happen on the first race of the season. But we'll be back with you in just a moment. Well, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. I think we're okay now. Everything seems to be fairly smooth on my screen. Still following along with Spencer Tart, followed by Wade Hustad. Sean Hughes in the 13 car sitting third there in that outside line, with Joseph Helt on the inside line in the 02 car. If I pull up these champion lists from last year, you can see Wade Hustad, that 32 car, in second place right now. He was the Cup Series champion from last year with 10 wins and 7 pole positions, 24 top 5s to that 32, and 27 top 10s. So Wade Hustad seems to be in his element right now, racing up front. But again, we did see some amazing racing throughout the Pro Series and the Winter Series from Spencer Tart. He seems to have stepped his game up as of recent. What are you thinking, Martin? Spencer Tart? He's
he's
good,
the guy. Yeah, he's the guy that jumped up from. He was really good in the Truck Series last year, but he obviously ran a number of races in Grand National and the Cup Series last year too. So I think he can handle it. I think he almost needs to be up at this series based on his iRacing his I rating. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he stacks up against some of these other guys that we've seen over the past couple of years. I mean, Wade Hustad, right behind him, Wade Hustad and Joseph Helt. Helt, another guy. I'm hoping Tart can get that. He's got a little bit of a blinking issue going on at my end.
He's blinked once for me, not a whole lot of it, but yeah, I don't know if he's historically had issues with that. I don't think he has.
No,
there are a couple other drivers in the league that have had some issues with the blinking here and there, but I mean, 11 laps in out of 100, Martin. We've got 11 laps already. Not a single even, you know, at least from what I can tell, not anybody's looking close to coming in with a caution flag or an accident yet. So as they come up on this lap traffic, we had some issues laps here. If you remember correctly, David Wellborn trying to run up against that wall and a couple cars getting into him early in the season last year. So we'll see if these guys can make it 3 wide and do it successfully.
Was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was definitely last year. I remember because I'm one of the guys who got caught up in it.
Okay.
And as you guys can see now, with the track getting a little bit darker, we can make day. Or is it the day to night transition?
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it's starting to get cloudy and stuff here. So
yeah, we're running at a time right now, or at least in iRacing, is 4:51, 1600.
Yeah,
so 4:51 in the evening.
It should get a little bit darker throughout the night, and then the lights should come on at some point.
Yeah, it depends on how long we go. I mean, this should it'll probably take at least 2 hours to do this 100 laps.
Yeah, we saw
barring a rash of a yellow flag.
That Daytona 500 in the official iRacing series, those tend to run 3.5 hours or so. So you can expect about half of that here tonight, depending on how many cautions we have.
Yeah, on that front row, we got a new car in that 69. That's Harry Tiller. I believe he's teammates with Hunter Johnson and Alexander Russell. So I think those 3 are teammates, or at least friends.
Spencer Tart, do you know what team he's a part of?
I believe he's part of S2R now.
Is he?
I think he is affiliated. I might be mistaken, but I think he might be affiliated with them, along with Wade Hustad's also involved with them now.
Yep, Wade Hustad, Thomas Harmon, Spencer Tart, and Joseph Helt. So 3 out of the top 4 drivers, or actually Helt fell back. 3 out of the top 5. All 3 of those guys on the same team. Thomas Harmon has a little catching up to do back there in 10th position, the 68 Avril Lavigne car.
Yeah, he's got Anthony Burrows in between him and the rest of his team there.
Impressive running by those guys so far, though, as the 36 drops down to that inside line. Actually, that's the 26, I'm sorry, of Steve Turner, and then he pops right back to the outside line. So jumping all over the place, trying to find out which lane's the fastest. Seems to be, Martin, we've had a little better luck so far this year with this package than I feel like we did last year. Last year, I feel like it was single file racing only here at Daytona and at Talladega, and last week in the shootout, in both duels races, and so far here tonight, they've been able to make that outside lane work pretty well.
Oh, Sean Hughes. Looking at an update there, I saw Sean Hughes was the 13 car. He was up there next to Tart early in the race. He's a new guy, rookie. he's now down 3 laps because he had a connection issue.
Yeah,
so
I believe he
that's a bummer for him.
out just a bit ago. Very unfortunate. And Tiller finally able to make the pass on Spencer Tart. So not only is that outside line working, but they're actually able to get around the guys in the inside line. So again, that's something we only saw in the B cars and the trucks last year. Not something we really saw in these Cup cars. I know they haven't, or at least I don't believe they changed the package and won't be changing it for about another month and a half. But
yeah, I think until March or, you know.
They typically wait until the NASCAR season gets started, and then that's when they, you know, do the package change altogether. But I don't know, outside line working right now.
Yeah, I noticed a lot in the NIS, and almost every series I ran the Daytona race this past week is there was a lot of double file racing, and especially NIS. NIS is being 200 laps, being the full length. You would think that people would just drive around in the single file a lot. Obviously in the B and the C, you know, the Xfinity cars and the trucks, those races only being 40 to 50 laps. It's a little bit more of a shootout mentality.
Well,
so you kind of want to stay in those 2 laps, maybe.
Hughes just reconnecting to the server. He is going to come back out on the track. Hopefully he can catch on to the field at some point. All of these drivers, I assume, expecting a caution at some point tonight. No matter what lap it comes on, it's definitely going to throw a cog in the plans as far as pit strategy goes, because I think you can only go about 40 laps.
Yeah, 40
right now. So right now it looks like a two pit stop strategy. Some of the guys could try to come in at about lap 33 to 34 if they really wanted to. So we'll see when that caution decides to fly tonight and see how it affects some of these guys' strategies moving forward.
Yeah, I know in my NIS experience, like we had a caution right as I was about to come in for that first green flag stop around, you know, in the 30s, 30 to 40 there. And then it kind of went green, and I think there was another yellow. We were able to come in again, and then about lap 100 was when people had to come in again, and that's when I wiped out coming into the pits. And that's a real hard thing coming into the pits here. You're going so fast, especially when you're drafting with a guy and you're all going in as a group. You really need to know how slow that guy in front of you is going to go, otherwise you're going to rear end him, or you're going to slow down too much, and then the guy behind you is going to run into you. So it takes a lot of practice. I mean, that's something that probably something you should practice a lot more than just driving around and
I don't know if you can go down to the track right now, Martin, and see the speed these cars are traveling. But on the straights, they're hitting over 200.
200. Harry Tiller was just at 200 going into that turn, and he's still at 198.
201, 202, 203, and when you're coming towards those pits, you got to go from 200 miles an hour all the way down to what is pit road speed? 60?
55.
Yeah, so you have to drop 145 miles an hour in the matter of less than a quarter mile. So.
And you gotta
have to do it while you're right on the bumper of 3 other cars. It's not an
easy thing. If you hit your brake too hard, I mean, I hit my brake too hard, and I just whipped straight left right into that inside wall. And
so you have various things to worry about, right? You hit the brake too hard and you hit the wall. You hit the brake just hard enough, and somebody taps you in the rear because they're not braking hard enough.
Yep.
Or you get scared of the guy in front of you because he's braking hard, and you spin your car because of it. Or you can just be that guy that's in the front of the group that's going in, and you can not hit the brakes enough, and you can slide right through that pit lane and cause yourself to get a speeding penalty, which, as we all know, is a nice 15-second stop while you're down there on pit road.
Yeah, now you've lost your partners that came down with you.
Yeah, so now instead of spinning 200 miles an hour around the track, you're spinning 185.
Well, Eric Wolf pulls in front of Harry Tiller now, and so that outside line of one car at a time is kind of sneaking in front of Spencer Tart and the S2R drivers.
Slowly
on that inside
line. But again,
so
I mean, there's only
Steve
4
Turner.
or 5 of them out there, and they're still making it work, which is very impressive to me. Now we have a 3-wide racing in the middle of a corner. Last time that whole pass was able to be completed during a straightaway, but this time it does occur in the corner, and no issues thus far. Looks like the 13 is going to try to pull in line. Decides to get up at the last second, but we'll get back down there and join the rest of these cars. And that just goes to show the side drafting is real here in iRacing. Some guys have, feel like it's a myth as far as the side drafting and stuff like that goes. But when all those cars got up next to him, the 13 started running the same speed as them. He wasn't right behind anybody or anything like that. So the side drafting thing does exist. It's absolutely amazing how realistic iRacing is. It's incredible. Out there in YouTube land that would like to know anything or have us point anything out on the stream, I would greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you don't get too much of the volume here at the beginning of this when I boot it up, but Ryan Hesgard is cheering on us to bar. No Honeycutt or Levine, he says. Or Levine,
yeah,
I don't know how you say this.
Honeycutt
I
as
can't
well.
believe Levine didn't.
We just lost Nicholas Lovell and Carl Dotson also just dropped out, losing their connection. So connection issues plaguing a few of these drivers.
Yeah, I mean 35 drivers in the field. Maybe the servers of iRacing unable to handle it. Daytona and Talladega Week again. These restricted plate weeks period are very, very popular. This is the last night for Daytona. I'm sure there was a lot of people online, and I know that there's a lot of league races going on these next few days where everybody's starting up the league for the season. So.
Ooh, Tart gets a little shaky there. Makes a little contact with Eric Wolf and Burrows. Burrows now on the outside line, making his move. With
Burrows repping a nice new paint scheme, or at least I hope it is, and my paints are updated. But
yeah, it's a purple
car instead of the white and blue one he had last year.
And then Joe Helt's still running that. I believe he's running the Purdue Boilermakers car in the O2.
Yeah, I think Helt's been in that since he started in the DRL. Who's that with the breast cancer awareness pin there? The purple and black.
That's actually the 36. That'd be that's a Salvador De Gennaro. So he's another S2R guy, or at least he was.
Salvatore De Gennaro. That's a good looking car. I like the way that thing looks.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's a Bill Edwards creation right there. I think he
Silent Syndicate Racing Team. He is very.
I think he also did a Tarts a new Pop Tarts car here.
Did he?
Yeah, it looks like. I think it says. I think it even has Fatal Concepts on the back there. Yep, on that back little panel says that.
Does very good work over there. Watching this and plays iRacing, reach out to Bill Edwards or anybody in S2R if you have any of them on your friends list. He is an awesome paint creator. He's made a couple paint schemes for me and should be making a couple more for me as well. So.
Ooh, Martin, something just happened. We had an incident. John Theodore is, let's see. Man, I can't get anything there. They just blinked out so long. Back at lap 23. Let's see. John Theodore is right behind Chad Presnell. So I'm watching the replay. I'll tell you what I see. There's no yellow flag for it. Yeah, it was Nathaniel Pollard in the 42 just hooked. John Theodore, sent him into the wall, and he's now
no caution flag.
Yeah, no caution. He hit the wall. I mean, he hit the wall hard too. I mean,
my camera control program, ATVO, is not working as well as I'd like it to. I'm getting some lag through it, so it's hard for me to switch camera views very quickly. Otherwise, I would go back and try to capture exactly what happened.
Yeah, he hit the wall. He hit the wall with his right front end, kind of at I'd say about a 45-degree angle, maybe a 30-degree angle, and then just slid right off and went straight again. So I think that's why the yellow didn't come out, because he just did not really crash. But yeah, and then.
It'll still affect you pretty good at Daytona.
He's going to be out of it until a yellow comes out and he can catch back up, and he's going to probably go down a lap eventually because He's got no draft.
1 lap down. Taylor Butcher Benjamin 2 laps down. Sean Hughes, who came back into the race after that disconnect, currently sits 5 laps back. And Carl Dodson 5 laps back as well. So.
Yeah, those bottom 3 have all had connection issues. I think Dodson has gotten back in. I don't see him on the track yet. Oh, there he is. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, he is out. I think he's out there. No, I don't see him anywhere. Oh, well.
I just got notification from Bill Edwards. Sal is running, and I don't know how to pronounce the name of it. It's Sjogren's disease scheme for his mother who has the disease. So that's awesome on Salvatore's part. It's spelled S-J-O-G-R-E-N-S for anybody who wants to look it up, but he's running that paint scheme for his mother, so shout out to Salvatore for doing that. Beautiful looking car. Again, it stood out to me. I think it's awesome. And Bill Edwards is the one who created it over there at Fatal Concepts, so. Anthony Burrows now leading the pack. He was favorite to win, I would say, the Cup Series last year. Did have Wade Hustad catching him there at the end, and Wade was able to pull it out in that final race at Homestead. The year prior to that, Anthony Burrows and Eric Wolf going at it for a championship. So Anthony Burrows definitely a mainstay here in the Dynasty Racing League, especially this Cup Series where he tends to, I don't know how, what was it, Martin? Like all but 1 race last year, and he finished in the top 5, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. Don't know how it happens, but he finds himself out there week in and week out. He's only 16 years old, I believe now he's 16, so bright future in front of that.
He's one of those young guys.
31 out of 100 right now. We should see pit stops coming. I imagine some teams will start the early pit stop strategy where they're going to go in at 33, 34. Some other teams are going to wait all the way until the last second, which is lap 40. So we'll see how these guys decide to split it up. I can go over to our radio channel and try to see who's together. We have S2R. Anthony Burrows is actually in with the S2R team right now, so possibly maybe playing some strategy with them tonight. Him, Joseph Helt, Thomas Harmon, Wade Hustad, all racing together in that channel. And we have Sean Hughes, seems to be all by himself. We have, is Richard Lucky, is he by himself? And Chris Lucky might just be his spotter.
I think Richard Lucky, let's see, because there's 2 of them that have the same, running similar paint schemes, so I assume they're teammates. I forget who the other guy is.
We got Richard Lucky and Chris Lucky in the same channel, but that might be just 2 spots.
No, they're both in the race. I mean, there's Chris Lucky's the 77, then Richard Lucky is the 41.
So those guys will be joining each other. We have Carl Dodson, who is a couple laps down now, but you have Christopher Pope, John Mullins, Robbie Armstrong, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Eric Wolf. All those guys are in the same channel. Salvatore Di Gennaro is all by himself right now. That guy we were just talking about with the awesome paint scheme. And we do have some solo drivers, so John Theodore kind of chilling by himself, Dustin Musel, Marvin Wingfield, Nathan Jurgensen, William Wingfield, Mike Springer and Richard Springer both in together. There's definitely some guys splitting up and should be pitting with each other, and you never know who's contacted each other on iRacing chat as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter going on right now over the open radio on iRacing, so guys trying to line up what they're going to do.
It's very important. Now you see everybody coming to this single file racing. You want to be able to drop down when it's time to pit, but the pit window is open. The next 6 laps, we will start to see these green flag pit stops, hopefully not causing a caution, but I can almost guarantee, Martin, we see 1 or 2 wrecks or speeding penalties at the very least when it comes time for these pit stops to fly. I know yourself, you had an issue in the NIS early at Daytona 500, didn't you?
Yep.
And there it is. First group of cars. You have Anthony Burrows, that whole S2R team. So Burrows, Joseph Helt, Wade Hustad, Thomas Harmon, Spencer Tart, Nathan Jurgensen, Connor Lane all come down pit road together. I knew it was coming soon. I just didn't know when it was coming, Martin. And it seems to be everybody made it down safely. We'll see if they're able to get in and out of the box just as safely. But
It was close there between Tart and Hustad coming in, though. They could almost run it. They almost ran into each other, get into their boxes.
We're going to look over here on the left-hand side. Jurgensen obviously having the quickest pit update there because he was the furthest box, but he does a 13.32, 14.35 for Harmon.
I think he's going to come out second there.
Jurgensen is going to gain some time. Awesome pit stop by him.
Yeah, he's going to be second in that group.
Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad. So all of those guys getting in and out very, very well. And they're all going to make it off pit road safely and be able to continue to race together. So great pit stop, coordinated, very well done by the S2R racing team there. And maybe a couple other guys who aren't necessarily in that team, but they also joined them down pit road.
And they're getting passed now by John Mullins and a couple of other guys. I think that's John Theodore in that group.
Yeah, again, I wish I could swap cameras around all over the place and see exactly who's there. The program is not wanting to cooperate with me. I think what is this, the whole field catching up to him now? So these guys are going to be able to get into the draft right back with the pack, which is great news for that group of drivers. Typically, you don't see that. They would have to like be out there on their own and just run as the 6 of them that pit. But they're now right back in with one of the main groups here in the race. So
yeah, and they're a lap down right now, but all these guys are going to have to go in and pit.
Exactly. So you're going to need another very large group of cars that are going to have to pit together as well in order to stay with them. So things very, very jumbled now as these guys banking on no caution flags coming out.
Well, now you have a mix.
Pit stop.
And in this group of cars now, you have a mix of cars that need to pit and other cars that have already pit, and now they're going to be trying to get out, like exiting the freeway and all that stuff, but with no blinkers, and it's going to, again, the communication is key, just letting people know, hey, I'm getting off here.
It's only about 3.5 times the speed of the freeway, just saying.
Yeah. And you got to slow down in about the length that you have of a normal, a normal off-ramp, except you're going 3 times as fast.
Definitely interesting.
All right, so 64, he's calling off that he's pitting. He's in that STP light blue and red scheme. And there he goes. He dumps off.
Salvatore falls
Looks like
down,
he's going with... yeah, you can see John Theodore goes into the grass.
Yeah, Salvatore Di Gennaro slammed the brakes very hard. The 64 of Mullins is in there. Christopher Pope, Chris James, Logan McNally, Mike Springer, John Theodore, and Chad Presnell. Lots of drivers coming down all there together on lap 39. So the remaining cars that are out on the track are going to have to come down the next time by because they only have 1 lap of fuel left. We tested it last week. Those guys that ran to the end of that race were on about 39 3/4 laps when they did it. So.
Yeah, we're getting some griping from John Theodore there. He feels like John Mullins didn't give enough of a warning that he was pitting. I heard the warning. I didn't hear anything from any of those guys.
Seconds for a pit stop for John Theodore, so that must mean he had to serve.
Yeah, he had to repair that.
Either serve repairs or he did serve a speeding penalty. I know he did have some repairs to do from earlier, but
I don't know if he did the repairs because his right end is still pretty banged up. So.
Now Harry Tiller, who was leading the race, comes down. John Patterson, Steve Turner, Tommy Bordeaux, Alexander Russell, Derek Pemberton, Jim Westerfield, Eric Hutton, Seth Noel, Dustin Musel, Nathan Pollard. All those guys coming down pit road to take a pit stop.
Hutton, I see Hutton going into reverse back there.
Chris Lucky currently leading the field. Actually, now, well, it says Pollard's leading the field, but Chris Lucky was leading. Chris Lucky's still out on the track. I don't know why it's showing Nathan Pollard leading the field, but considering he's sitting in the...
How long was Eric Hutton's stop there?
Hutton was stopped for 15.07, so normal. Fairly normal.
Yeah, but I think, okay, I don't think it starts.
So a couple seconds.
But I guess that clock doesn't start until he's actually in his box, right?
Correct.
Because he was having trouble getting into his box. Yeah, so he probably took up 30 or so seconds probably.
So Chris Lucky must be the only driver, I would assume, who hasn't pit yet. And I'm not quite sure how. We're now 31 laps in, unless he just happened to get out in the perfect position. It currently shows Chris Lucky is leading this race.
He's coming in right now, so he's probably right on the edge of fuel.
And and he's going to be in trouble because I don't think he has anybody to run with.
No.
Steve Turner? Steve Turner going to come down with him, or is he out there? Turner's back in line, so I think out of all of that, Eric Wolf in the 24 car is now your leader. So those guys who decided to take the early pit didn't pay off for them. Now there's a group out in front of them. Thomas Harmon's a part of that group. Wade Hustad's a part of that group. But some of the other guys in S2R did get separated. You have Joseph Helt with them. Jurgensen's with them.
Yeah, Josh Patterson all the way up into 5th, starting 21st.
Yeah, Spencer Tart back to the 16th position now.
Yeah,
so
he's...
A couple guys maybe like had some issues during that whole cycle, in and out.
Yeah, Tart is kind of in a pack that's away from everyone else.
And now once again showing Chris Lucky as your leader, as the whole field is coming in strong. You know, I wonder if this changes everybody's strategy towards the end of this race. Because Lucky, yes, he's going to get passed by this lead group of cars, but he's going to get some speed off of them. He's probably going to be able to fall in line behind the next group of cars behind him. It makes me wonder if maybe that front group of S2R guys will wait and stay out until lap 80 this time. You know what I mean? Like, just stretch it, not necessarily lap 80, but stretch this next one as far as possible, or if they're going to do the early pit thing again. Guess we'll have to see if another caution flag flies. Or if a caution flag flies, period, as we're now 43 laps out of 100, and we've yet to experience a caution flag. You know, we had this last year, I think, Martin. I don't know if it was the first Daytona or the second one, but we actually had 3 races during the last Cup Series last year where there was no cautions the entire race.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if it was the first Daytona. I know the first Daytona ended with some crazy
ended very interesting,
stuff,
but that was under white flag conditions, so it didn't throw a caution anyway. That was, I think, David Wright captured that win last year.
Yes, he did. Yeah, Nathan Jurgensen right now out in front, and Joseph Helt, and then Anthony Burrows. Those guys all on the outside line, and then Eric Wolf is in 4th place. He's currently behind John Mullins. Mullins down a lap. He's the Lucky Dog car.
I wish I could. My whole camera program is all screwed up. I wish I could go tell you exactly how many cars are on the lead lap. I don't know if you can do that.
Yes, I can. There are 25 cars on the lead lap. Nathaniel Pollard.
35 of them still here on the lead lap.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's 4 or 5 of them all the way back. That's Mullins, Pemberton, Russell, Johnson, and Theodore. Those guys are all lapped down, probably due to that pit. Just their pit strategy or how they it all shook out. And then Taylor Butcher Benjamin down 3 laps, still out there. Sean Hughes down 4 laps. Carl Dotson has gotten back in. He's down 5. I don't know where Chad Presnall is, but he is down 7 laps currently. And it looks like Nicholas Lovell has not been able to get back into his car after that technical issue. So Nathan Jurgensen, the rookie. I'm trying to think whose spotter he was last year. I feel like he...
So I did get comment from some people on YouTube chat that John Theodore did actually not take any repairs. He did get a speeding penalty there.
Yeah, it was a speeding penalty probably, yep.
Why he was angry with maybe the car in front of him, saying that he wasn't going to pit in time. But it is not a rule in the Dynasty Racing League, unless maybe it was announced prior to this. It used to be over a year ago, but I don't think in the last year it's been a rule that you have to call your pit stops.
I think John Mullins definitely called it, and he pulled off way earlier than, I mean, Theodore didn't pull off until pretty late.
Yeah, I think
was way to the right of him. So
as far as I know, the admins have decided that it's
yeah, you don't have to call it.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
If you don't want to, you don't have to. They would prefer that you do, especially on a track like this. But if you don't want to call your pit stop, you don't have to tell anybody you quit. I mean, it's, you know, a lot of that strategy. So.
Yeah, so Nate Jurgensen, who's leading, he was John Theodore's spotter last year. That's who it was.
Yeah.
So solid addition at this point. It looks like he's leading the race.
Whoa. You can't go talking about solid additions yet, Martin. We're at Daytona.
No, it's Daytona. You're right.
I mean, Earnhardt Jr. used to race well at every Daytona in Talladega there was. And, how many championships did he win? I know, I'm going to have all these NASCAR fans all over me now, but guess what? Chase Elliott, the replacement for Mr. Jeff Gordon, is now the most popular driver in NASCAR, and I was a Jeff Gordon fan ever since I was a little kid, so.
Well, yes, we are at Daytona. Anyone can win this race.
Yeah, I mean, Jurgensen raced in that Winter Series, too. He was fairly good throughout that. Eric Wolf, no surprise to see him up there in second place right now. And these guys just single filing out. Steve Turner running third, Joseph Helt in the fourth spot, Anthony Burrows running fifth, Thomas Harmon from S2R, he runs in sixth. Wade Hustad, his buddy, right there behind him in seventh position, and that makes up that front pack. So Harmon and Hustad, the only guys, I believe, from that initial group. Oh, no, I guess Helt was with him, right? I don't know if Steve Turner was with him, but it was Helt, Harmon, and Hustad. All three of those guys put together in that very initial group. I don't know how many of these front guys actually went down with him now.
Yeah, I feel like Turner went down at the same time with Wolf, I think. I might be wrong about that.
Salvatore Di Gennaro leads the next pack in that number 36 car. He was the next group of guys to come down and pit, and a lot of those guys right behind him came with them. So you see that pit strategy playing a part here tonight. Guys who pit together are out there running together currently, as we see the top four drivers possibly pulling away from the next pack behind them. As Joseph Helt's having a, is it Joseph Helt? Yeah, he's having a tough time keeping up with those cars in front of him.
Yeah, John Mullen's sticking with those guys. They're gonna help him get that lucky dog if a yellow does come out.
Right? I mean, that's the thing too that you have to think about with the lucky dog, or at least the way iRacing works. I'm not sure if it's the same in NASCAR, but in iRacing, if under that caution flag, or at any time after the initial wreck were to happen, if a caution flag flies, if John Mullen takes even a 0x, any incident point at all pops up on his screen, he forfeits the lucky dog and it goes to the next driver behind him.
Yeah, then it goes to Derek Pemberton.
Sure that he's free of any contact whatsoever if and when the caution does fly, but he will be the driver to get it back if it does happen.
But being in a group of four cars, and especially with Eric Wolf right behind you, you're probably in a good spot.
Ernesto Gonzalez, our big man up there in YouTube land, our stats guy, as he has been for many times. He said 65 viewers right now, a DRL record. We appreciate all the viewers for tuning in and watching. It's been a great race so far. We're only halfway through right now, 51 out of 100. And I think there's definitely some exciting racing to come. I hope, Martin, not that I want to see a caution, because I hate it when we have those races where there's caution after caution after caution, but I would love to tighten this field up.
The big one, don't you?
I don't want to see the big one. I just want to tighten this field up and let these guys really have a chance to race. Hopefully it comes with 20 to go or so, and we can have an awesome finish to this one.
So you're saying you want to stage yellow?
Basically, I want a debris caution. Martin, go throw a water bottle.
There's a water bottle out there, yep.
Ernesto, just so you know, there has been no yellow flags this evening.
Yep, no yellows.
So 52 clean laps run by all these drivers here tonight. They try to make their way around the 63 and the 78 car there, and they're going to drop right in line and join the rest of these guys. So I like that. Yeah, Chick-fil-A. Who's the 78?
That's Eric Hutton. Yeah, that's a sharp car. That little sparkle reddish orange.
It's interesting for sure. It's like
not even just a solid color either. It's got that little bit of that sparkle in there, so that's really cool.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I saw that. It caught my eye. I was like, oh, that's a cool one. Yeah, I mean, we have 0 cautions here in this race, and that's something I would expect in this series. But even NIS, I mean, I did the NIS race. That's again 200 laps, so you're thinking, okay, some guys are gonna be more patient than a normal race. But NIS is always a yellow flag fest, and through the first 100 laps that I did until I wrecked out, I think there was 2 cautions. There was an early caution, and then another one probably lap 60, I think, or something like that, and it was really clean actually. So
I mean, you know, 250
guys are figuring it out.
miles,
Maybe I don't know.
They want to be patient. There's no reason.
You should be patient, yeah.
Push stuff, but again, like we talked about
but
earlier,
NIS
I didn't
is
expect the green flag pit stops to go as clean as they did. It's
yeah.
I expected somebody, and somebody
That's
did
where
end
you
up
think
in the
something's
grass,
going to
but
happen.
there wasn't a caution flag, so you never know.
Yeah, in a clean race like this, that's where I expected suddenly something. You're going to get that yellow is going to come out. It's going to be during the. It usually is. That's usually what it is.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Martin, I'm going to let you, unless you want to go to commercial break. You down for a commercial, my friend?
Yeah, go commercial.
Be happy about it. We're going to take a quick commercial break, guys. Let us get up and stretch our legs for just a minute, and we will be right back, hopefully, with some more green flag action.
Yeah, we'll watch. Nathan Jerkis is falling back right now, so we'll see where he ends up after this commercial.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dynasty Racing League on DRL TV. This is the Cup Series. 62 laps in out of 100 right now. Thanks again to everybody who tuned in this evening. Pleasure having you guys join us.
Yeah, our new leader, Steve Turner. Nathan Jurgensen's back to 7th, and he's actually in that second group of cars right in front of John Theodore. Actually, kind of a third group, a little group with I think Spencer Tart's in there.
We're up here at the front group now. If we go back, you now see, yeah, that's a second group of cars there.
Kind of a little bit of a clump. Yeah, now it's kind of single file.
Out in front of that one, you have the 82 there of Chris James in 7th position. Leads that way. Josh Patterson, Salvatore Di Gennaro there in that 36 car. Then Nathan Jurgensen in the 31. Harry Tiller in the 69 just behind him.
Yeah, Jurgensen just continues to lose spots.
You got Spencer Tart. Who's that sprinkled in there? The M&M's car. The nice little Kyle Busch scheme.
Derek Pemberton.
So Pemberton, I think a lap or two down. He is 1 lap down right now.
Yeah, 1 lap down.
So 22 cars currently on the lead lap.
Yeah, John Mullins, who is technically not a lap down because he is in front of the leader. He's leading the way, leading that lead pack of cars. So he's the last car on the lead lap, with the leader right behind him on his bumper.
And I mean, not the best pit cycle for him the last time through, but he has managed to put himself right in front of the lead car. If he's able to maintain that position out there in front of Steve Turner, he can.
And he just took 2 positions. He just took 2 positions from Connor Lane and Tommy Bordeaux.
Exactly. He can get his lap back.
And Richard Lucky and...
Richard Lucky and Bordeaux both going a lap down. Eric Hutton going a lap down as well. So John Mullins not in a bad spot, but he can't even give up 1 position. If he does, he will be the lucky dog if we see a caution flag fly, but...
Yeah, Richard Lucky now is hoping Mullins stays in front of Steve Turner so that he can get that lucky dog.
The way this race is going so far this evening, I don't know if
we might not even need to
see a caution flag. There might not be a lucky dog.
Yeah, but where Turner right now is in that, Turner's in a position. I don't think he's going to try to make a move and go past Mullins at this point. There's no reason to, and he's saving fuel by being behind him.
If he were to drop out at this point, he would be dropping out, and absolutely nobody would follow him. So.
Oh no, he would. Yeah, he would know. That's what happened to Jurgensen. I don't know why Jurgensen pulled out. I don't know if he just got bumped out or something. But as soon, like just as you were going to commercial, he was just dropping like a rock, and he is dropped all the way back to 10th place. But yeah, he just went out to the outside line and looks like he stopped.
Sometimes
with the speed of it.
Pulling out a little too far on the exit of one of those corners, it allows that car behind you just to get his nose in there.
Sucks in, and he's in there.
If he gets his
you're
nose
not getting
in
back
there,
in.
and you try to pull down, that's not only the end of your night, but the end of 5 or 6 other cars' nights, and you don't want to be that guy. So.
Yeah, you can only hope. The only hope for you in that situation is that car will ease up and let you back in. But that's only probably going to happen if it's a teammate, and that teammate really wants to help you out.
John Mullins still leading this pack of cars down. Front straight.
Yeah, and guys are starting to talk about their pitch strategy again. We're on lap 66, going into 67.
67
that window's starting to open.
This next pack of cars, starting with Chris James there in the 82 car, followed by Josh Patterson.
Yeah, Sal De Gennaro is coming over the radio. It's like, hey, when you guys going in? When are you going in? What are we doing?
Everybody wants to know what's going on, and now you might see team lines starting to break here, because if the guys in the second pack, even the ones that pitted with the S2R guys the first time through, if they get in too late, I mean, they're a good, what are we looking at, 3 seconds back of that lead pack. If they decide that they want to try to pit together again, they're going to have a hard time catching up. They're going to have to absolute flawless pit stops, and they're going to have to fly into the pits and fly out of the pits in order to stay with their teammates. So we'll see if the teams decide to stick together here, if maybe these two packs of cars decide to stick together, and how everybody chooses to make the pits this time through, as we will be seeing those pit stops. The window is open. This is where you would like to pit anytime between now and about the next 10 laps or so.
Yeah, I'll tell you, as a driver, this is probably the most stressful point in the race.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? Do you stick with your teammate?
Well, because
do you go down
so different.
I mean, it's Christopher Pope, Seth Noel, Dustin Musel, Jim Westerfield, all coming down pit road. So early pitting by some of the cars out there.
Yeah, that further back group, yeah.
It's just a group of 4 there, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Yeah, but you're, especially at Daytona or Talladega, where you have to have those drafting partners, you know, but we don't, it's so rare, at least on iRacing, to go so long that you have green flag stops in any race. And Daytona is definitely one where you have to work together on those green flag stops, which presents a whole different issue because a lot of guys, maybe you're just not used to work with other people going down pit road. And then you're sitting there asking the guy in front, hey, are you going? When are you going? And they don't respond to you. And you're like, I'm running out of fuel. I got 2 laps. 1 lap. We got to do something.
Yeah,
and maybe you just got to take charge. You just got to go.
To the point where it takes your focus off the actual pit stop and you're more worried about the
oh, yeah. And then you have to worry about that.
Not a good thing, so. Wade Hustad, Thomas Harmon, Joseph Helton, Anthony Burrows, all those guys from S2R that pit the first time together, all of them electing to come down and pit together now. And we do still see the group kind of sticking together. So Spencer Tart comes, Eric Wolf comes, Chris James, Mike Springer. Those are 2 guys who were not in that group the first time. They decided to pit with them. Connor Lane is coming down. I believe he did pit with them the last time. So we'll see. I mean, does it pay off for Hustad and Helt, Harmon, and Burrows? Time will tell as John Mullins does want to keep staying out there in front of Steve Turner. If a caution does fly, he does not want to be the guy sitting and waiting. But, you know, the bad part of being that lead car is what happens when the 26 decides to pit right behind you and both the 41 and the 18 follow. Now you're left all by yourself, and John Mullins is not only not the lucky dog, but he's an absolute sitting duck with nobody to help him draft. So we'll see if these guys decide to work with Mullins or not, as I don't think 3 cars drafting together is exactly what you want here. You'd prefer to have a couple more than that. So we see them catching up to Hustad and Harmon and Helt and Burrows, the guys we were just talking about. They are going to be able to make the pass on them, but can they put a gap? I don't know. I think Hustad's going to be able to catch the back end of the bumper of the 18. If he's able to, those 4 cars are sitting in a very, very nice position to take the lead pack in this race. But Wade Hustad falling now, I don't know, about a 1/4 second back of the 18. Those guys really need to try to pull away from Hustad right now. If Hustad's able to stay in that draft, it's not going to look good for the rest of this field. We might just have a nice little S2R group run away with the race here at the end. He's still falling off, and now those guys are going to pit, so they no longer have that draft to catch into. And we'll see where they come out of the pits, as the 32 and the 68 are now going to lead the field the next time by. John Mullins still staying out there. Like I said, that was the danger. Mullins out there by himself. He is now the lead car, and I think Hustad and Harmon should try to move around him, and they do. So Mullins now a sitting duck. He was the last car in the lead lap. He has nobody to draft with, and he's going to get in the pits late. Hopefully he can connect to the back of somebody's bumper towards the end of this one. Eric Hutton only with a 10.05 second pit stop down there on pit road, so very fast pit stop by Hutton.
That was very fast.
Steve Turner with only a 10.12, 9.05 for Harry Tiller, so some guys not even taking tires on that pit stop.
There comes John Mullins coming into the pits now.
I expect Mullins to employ a very similar pit strategy where he does not take tires, otherwise he doesn't stand a chance of staying on that lead lap. And for the time being, Logan McNally, Chris Lucky, and Steve Turner, or Logan McNally and Chris Lucky are the 2 lap leaders. So Logan McNally is going to be able to get himself a lap lead. The that bonus point under his belt. It is a long season. The guys will need all bonus points that matter. We saw it come into effect at, last season. Everything you can get. The most important ones, obviously, are race wins. Those will get you 3 bonus points for each one moving into that playoff. And each round of the playoffs, those 3 points will carry over to the following round. So every race won here is going to be a big help moving forward, especially if you make it to the playoffs at the end of the season.
I think Derek Pemberton just came down again.
Yeah, I don't know if he came down before, but he definitely is down.
I thought he did. And we got 3 cars coming in now.
Chris Lucky are going to pit.
And Russell and Johnson.
In the 26 car is your new leader.
Yeah, I'm watching here at the entrance of pit road. It's just crazy watching those cars come out of that turn 4, and just go like 3-4 wide coming down the apron.
I called the 78 the 18 at multiple times this evening. That is not the 18 car. That is the 78 car.
78.
Talked about earlier. That 7 looks a little bit like a 1 from the side, depending on how far you are away from the vehicle.
Yeah, I think it's the same. The font.
It almost looks exactly the same, but that's Eric Hutton and that awesome.
Yeah, that's that same font as the 18 real life uses.
Right? Yeah, that's gorgeous. I love that car, and the 26 right in front of him with the American flag on the side, or at least without the stars, blue, red, white stripes. I love it. So were those 2 the first ones to pit? No, so Chris Lucky is yet to come down. He was one of the last cars to pit last time.
Yeah,
and now
he stayed out quite a long time
out there. Yeah, he is. I think he's the last car out there right now. So Steve Turner only has 3 laps on his tires. Wade Hustad with 6, Thomas Harmon with 6, Joseph Helt, Anthony Burrows, Chris James, Mike Springer, and Eric Wolf all in that next pack behind him. So with only 2 cars, though, together, these guys will get caught eventually. Hustad will be the first one to get to them. 4 cars in that pack, all not all in S2R. I wanted to say all in S2R, but Anthony Burrows, who's also in their team channel right now, so he is employing some pit strategy with those guys. He's running 6th right now, the last of that 4-car group, but we jump back to Chris James in the 82, who's in the front of the next group. He's followed by Springer, Eric Wolf, Jurgensen, who's still in 10th position after that pit cycle, and Salvatore Di Gennaro in that beautiful 36 car we talked about earlier. He's running 11th. So Chris Lucky now up to the back of the 9 and the 7. Seth Noel and Christopher Pope.
Chris Pope.
Both very, very close to going a lap down. But now that they've got their draft, I don't know. Chris Lucky and Steve Turner in a very good position to possibly go on and win this race. As you see John Theodore coming down to pit, Taylor Butcher-Benjamin, both of those guys in the back of this one, Tommy Bordeaux, Kevin Varnador, both of them coming down to pit. So some weird pit strategies by them, maybe hoping for a caution flag to come out throughout that pit cycle. And some of these guys, Martin, that we saw do so good during the Winter Series. We saw Nathan Lovell. He did very well throughout that Winter Series. He's in a tough position right now. We know how good Tommy Bordeaux is. He, not doing that well tonight. John Theodore did excellent even at the end of the Cup Series. I think he made Final 4 last year, and he did very well throughout the Winter Series.
Yeah, he got turned early in the race, and that just cost him position and slowed him down. He's got that damage.
I mean, Chad Presnall having some issues. Lots of guys that we saw do very well throughout last year are not having the best of luck. Hunter Johnson even in the 24th spot. He made it into the closing races of last season. Tommy Bordeaux is kind of who we consider the Cup Car Road Series guy. He did very well in every Road Series race last year that we had, and just killed it in these Cup cars and the road courses. He was very good in every one of them. Eric Wolf started to give him a run for his money towards the end of the season, but Glad to have him back. Some familiar faces, Martin, but a lot of new guys here. Chris Lucky, your current leader. I mean, never seen him in an official Cup race here in the DRL as he finally pulls down pit road, and he's going to come down and get that fuel that he needs very badly after running out there forever. And now you have Thomas Harmon in that beautiful Avril Lavigne. I think he won a, he won a, didn't he win a restrictor plate track last year? Was it?
No, I think it was
Talladega, or was it Texas? Maybe it was Texas. You're right. But that, I mean, still, that's a fairly big. Drafting doesn't matter as much at Texas as it does at one of these restrictor plate tracks, but matters to a certain point. Harmon putting himself in a position to go out here and win a race tonight. 82 in out of 100.
Whoa, and there we go. We got a wreck. It's Anthony Burrows. Where is the yellow?
And we
Where is the
don't
yellow?
have a yellow flag flying.
Are you kidding? No yellow flag. There it is. The yellow flag finally comes out.
I was going to say,
wow.
I don't know if iRacing's going to throw it, or I'd hope an admin would throw a manual yellow flag.
So this is on the backstretch, lap 82 backstretch. Thomas Harmon's in the lead of this group. Wade Hustad, Steve Turner, Joe Helt, Eric Hutton, and Anthony Burrows. And I'm going to see, I'm going to go on Burrows here and see what happened.
We'll go back to the instant replay one more time here.
Yeah, Hutton and Burrows just got into each other. That takes out Joseph Helt. Burrows continues on his way. Hutton and Helt catching the wall. So it looks like Hutton just kind of got up, and it might have been netcode, but again, these cars get so close that that's happened? Moving air and stuff.
What did Helt do? Did Helt DC? Did he just leave?
No, he's still in there. He might be towing because he smacked the wall really hard.
All right, guys. Well, the graphics are going to go away for a second, so I can actually navigate through these menus here because my graphics program is giving me an issue, and I can't navigate for you. So give me 2 seconds. Load this here, and that way I can go back and watch a replay. I was trying to catch the replay there, and I caught it, and then everything got messed up, and it wouldn't let me actually...
Yeah, so Eric Hutton. It just looks like Eric Hutton just kind of drifts up a little bit and clips both Helt and Anthony Burrows. Burrows is able to get through. I'm going to look on Burrows' car and see if he has any damage from that, really. Doesn't look like he has any significant damage at all from that little bump. Almost looks like he glitched through it.
I'm going to go back one more time and watch...
That's lap 82 on that backstretch with that group.
Now we're focused on Helt. I'm going to go back and see this one more time. Chopper here and see exactly what happens. So Harmon doing just fine. The inside line doing just fine. The 26 drifting a little towards the outside. Burrows pushing Helt hard in that 62 car.
Yeah, it's just kind of a little bit, I mean, it looks, I mean, there's no definite contact. It looks a lot like a little bit of netcode there, but those cars are so close to each other.
Wow, the 78 just bounces out of nowhere up into the 02, so...
Yeah, it just bounces up.
That was very, very strange. The 78 didn't look like he touched anybody. Eric Hutton, I'm sorry, just smashes.
Yeah, he just suddenly moved.
That definitely
when I think what it is...
netcode.
Yeah, there's netcode there, but again, you know, air moves around too. I mean, these cars shift around like crazy.
If we go down into the cockpit here.
Yeah, and Burrows just an amazing job. I mean, look at Burrows just hang on to that car because he goes sideways.
Here's Hutton
is able to
on the back of the 26, and yeah, his car just snaps to the right, and he smashes the 02.
Because he gets a little too close to Burrows. Because he just got a little too close to Burrows. You can see it right before he snaps. He's right next to Burrows. And they make contact, netcode-wise. So again, those cars don't look like they're making contact, but they're so close that it's in that range.
Yes, they made contact, right?
So and that's why he then whips to the right, because Burrows is taking his right rear out from him. So that's going to take out Joseph Helt. And I thought for sure Burrows now Burrows isn't gonna get a top 5, but he went through that with almost no damage at all. And he's now up in 4th place.
Yeah, Burrows not getting a top 5. Good one, Martin.
I saw the purple car and I'm thinking, wow, man. He's involved, and nope. he's still alive.
only once in the last year have we seen Burrows not get a top 5. All right, so Richard Lucky, 25.8 seconds down there on pit road. Eric
Even when
Hutton
he's involved in the
getting
only caution in the race.
some extra time on pit road. Kevin Varnador with some extra time. Connor Lane's been down there a while. John Theodore, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. All those guys taking a little extra time on pit road to get some repairs.
Yeah, so that shakes up the field. I mean, Thomas Harmon now in the lead. Wade Hustad, Steve Turner, who's been up there most of the night. Anthony Burrows surviving that. Surviving
James
that
in the 82, thanking the heavens that he was able to catch back up to that lead pack.
Yeah.
He's now sitting in 5th. And, I mean, you can't imagine a better scenario, right? For the 82, the 24, the 12 car, and Nathan Jurgensen, who we saw doing very well earlier in the night, able to get out there and lead a few laps. He is now back in the 8th spot and is going to have some laps to run here with these leaders. So, Martin, we've said it before. It happens time and time again, but I think this might be one of those cautions breed cautions scenarios, as these guys are going to get very, very feisty at the end of this race.
Well, yeah, because now you have, it's going to be a, 14, 13 lap shootout. There isn't a lot of time for patience now. Now it's going to be double file. Guys are going to be, which line's going to move? And jockeying for that position to come around that last corner, turn 4, so they can go 3-4 wide and get their nose across that line before the guy next to them.
Well, guys, we are still single file. We're not going to go to commercial.
Just going double file now.
Yeah, I'm going to keep everything. Oh, I'm still on replay. I was going to say.
Yeah. Get up here,
never
man.
Never mind, Martin.
We are now double file, yeah.
I had ATVO mess all up on me. I'm going to take a quick break. You can bring us to the green flag. I'll be back in just a minute, but let me get us to live action here, if I can actually do that.
I hope I don't get dumped from this. Come on, iRacing.
I'm just having some major issues with ATVO tonight, the program that we use for all the graphics and jumping in and out of the race and stuff. As you see now, the screen just jumped all of a sudden all the way out to actual live action, and the lights are out on the pace car, so we are going to take this thing to green.
Yeah, it's about... So last time we talked about the sky changing, and now it's about 5:51 in the evening.
Yeah, and it's still bright. I mean,
start seeing that sun's starting to go down though. You're starting to get a little bit more of an orange glow.
Come on, it's almost 6 o'clock. I guess I live up in New England, right? So it gets dark here at about 5:15.
Yes, for us up in the north, yeah.
Down in Florida, it gets dark at 6:30. So.
Yeah, I think if we were doing this full length, the lights would be able to come on, but I don't think we're gonna get the lights tonight.
Well, if we had more than one caution, we might. It depends on how many cautions we have come out here, Martin.
So they come to the line. And Wade Hustad.
Flag racing.
Or no, it'd be Thomas Harmon on the outside is the control car.
Yeah, Harmon elected to take that outside line. The 26 is going to push hard on the inside. This is one of those tracks, too, just like Dega. You don't want to jump early in that restart box. You really don't, because if you do, the other cars are just going to catch you in the first corner, and they're going to blow right past you. Because you're going to be one guy out there slower than anything else, and you really want to start with all those guys right on your tail, and that's what Harmon elected to do, and he's able to get down. And Burrows follows him, so Burrows, who you thought might be knocked out of the race just a few moments ago, is now riding in second. He's riding there comfortably. Wade Hustad just behind him, and what a race it would be for Harmon to come out here. We talked about him last year. He joined midway through last season. We saw him in the very early races of the Dynasty Racing League. He disappeared for almost a year, I think he was gone. He decides to come back, and he did very, very well last season out here in these Cup cars, and I think we interviewed him once or twice and said, hey, what have you changed? What did you do differently? And he said, I just come out here and race. I practice with my buddies, and I haven't really changed a whole lot. He's just naturally gotten better in the car, and he proves himself week in and week out, almost making that final race at Homestead last year if it wasn't for a late wreck in the fifth to last race of the season. So,
well, he's got some really good cars behind him pushing.
Yes,
Anthony Burrows, the runner-up for 2 straight seasons, arguably the most consistent driver in Dynasty Racing League. And then Wade Hustad, last year's champion.
Arguably
the new guy
the
is Steve
second
Turner,
most consistent driver in the Dynasty Racing League.
Yeah, and then Eric Wolf, who is probably the 3rd most consistent. I mean, Eric Wolf has just not been able to show up, and that's a ding on his consistency, I would think. But
Cool new paint scheme.
Definitely if he's on the track,
there,
yeah.
The 24 car, the white with the red and orange racing
Yeah, that
stripe
K&N
down the center.
filters,
I like
yeah.
it a lot. Definitely different from some of the schemes he ran last year. And this thing is single filing out as who is that?
Yeah, I'm
is that
surprised.
Mike Springer getting shuffled back there, so the 12
Yeah, he
car kind of
shuffled
stuck
back
on the
really
outside.
quickly. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't decide to just go too wide the whole way and battle it out that way, but I guess everyone's going to single file and then they're going to pick their moment to jump that outside line.
Wade Hustad sticking his neck out there just a little bit, starting to sniff some fresh air, maybe getting ready to make a move. But you know what, Martin? We're still 10 laps to go, and it's not time yet. It really isn't. We're going to see those moves probably come with less than 2 laps to go when these guys finally decide to do it. I'm praying for no caution. I hope all the viewers out there have enjoyed the race tonight. I hope you enjoy the end of this race, as I expect it to be a very good one.
Yeah, getting some feedback on the live chat on the stream. Ryan Hesgaard, one of the top drivers down in the Grand National. We'll see him out there tomorrow. If outside is going to do anything, they need to do it now and get formed up.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make a
there
thick
they go.
line out
Eric
there.
Wolf.
We see Eric
Wolf is getting out there. He's starting it.
Out. Chris James is going to follow him. DeGennaro thinks about it, and then he dips back down to the inside. So
I thought that line was going to form.
Now the 9 car considering moving as well. So Seth Noel found himself up there, ready to maybe jump out. He's doing the same thing Hustad was doing just a couple laps ago, sniffing the outside. Do I want to move with them? Do I want to stay inside? What do you do? It's a tough decision to make right now.
DeGennaro said, "Oh, I'll go with I'll stay here and I'll go into 5th place."
Well, I mean, Oh no, and DeGennaro,
and he's going to turn with Eric Wolf, and so he got greedy.
Eric Wolf clobbers the inside of Salvatore DeGennaro. He causes the big one of the evening. Salvatore DeGennaro did decide to finally try to move up into that outside line, and it was not the right time to do it.
Yeah, he wanted to be in front of that line, not behind Eric Wolf, and he ends up taking both him and a number of drivers.
Well, we're gonna go back and try to watch that again here, guys.
The server is just not gonna let me see all these guys getting hit.
Yeah, I'm trying here.
It's an overload.
Salvatore is definitely.
But I'm gonna see who I can get here.
Pulling up just a little bit too early.
Yep. Yeah, Wolf in the. I'm looking here. Wolf in the grass. Who else is that? Harry Tiller off in the grass. Josh Patterson. Ooh, on his hood. It looks like. Who's on his hood? That point I'm at. Chris Lucky got flipped on his hood.
Here's DeGennaro. He moves up just a little bit, and then he moves up hard after wiggling the wheel a little bit. That causes Eric Wolf and him both to go into the wall. You know, not as much contact as I would have expected. Did definitely send some cars sideways. Tommy Bordeaux, or no, I'm sorry, Eric Wolf in the 24 takes a tumble.
Chris Lucky
makes
a little contact, makes a little contact with Dustin Musial, and then rear ends Eric Wolf, just jams into there, and probably iRacing sends him into space. Eric Wolf goes on his hood too.
Now riding around with Chris Lucky in the
Lucky
24.
never
the
flips
wreck
over.
Happens just outside of him. He thinks he can avoid it down low, and he cannot as he plows into the wall, and he is on the hood. Good night. Can see what these drivers go through when they are flipping in the car, so that's all you can see from the windshield of Chris Lucky. And he lays there on his hood as he is going to tow the vehicle. Thomas Harmon, still your leader, 93 laps in out of 100. We are going to go green for at least
now we're going to have a even more crazy shootout.
I mean, Martin, this is what Daytona is all about. I said cautions would be cautions. That didn't happen the way I thought it would. I thought somebody would get over-aggressive and be silly. And you know what? I think it was an honest mistake by Salvatore. He thought he was clear, and he wasn't. And then when he tried to pull back down the track, he touched the apron with his left front tire, and it sent him right back up the track into Eric Wolf. So a very good driver in Eric Wolf, unfortunately caught up in all that mayhem. Knocks him all the way back to the 23rd position. He's still down there on pit road after starting 8th.
Yeah, I don't think at all he intended to take anyone out, of course. But I think he was being a little greedy there. I thought for sure that outside line, as soon as Wolf pulled out, it looked like everyone was going to go with Wolf. It looked like everyone. I mean,
I think they should have.
It seemed like
a couple laps.
It looked like Sal and Seth Noel and Chris Pope, all those guys right behind Wolf. Chris James went with him for sure, and then it looked like Sal was going. The 9, Noel, was going with him. It looked like that whole line was going to go out there. It was like that was going to be the line. And then Sal said, nah, I want to go in front of this line.
Martin,
and he tried to do it. And
if only you could see the YouTube chat right now. He said, are the people in the crowd okay? Because, you know, obviously the crowd in iRacing is standing literally dead still. So I think, who was it? Somebody said, I don't know, the crowd seems pretty still, Jake Helt says. And then Ryan Hesgard says, shocked from what they saw. That's beautiful. Everybody's in shock in the crowd, guys. Don't worry about them. Randy Baker, for your recent comment, I don't know about minimum IR or anything right now. They're typically, so the Cup racing in this league is based on not necessarily just iRating, because there's ways to boost iRating. Myself, I could get over 3,000 if I just raced IndyCar at Auto Club, or if I just raced the Legends, right? I could get over 3,000 iRating. That doesn't necessarily mean everything. We try very, very hard as an admin group to pre-screen guys from entering into the Cup Series. We invite people that are below a certain threshold. We would like to see nothing but 3,000 plus iRating in the Cup Series, but again, your iRating doesn't necessarily mean everything about you as a driver, and problem drivers will be removed throughout the year if there are issues with them. So it will not be an ongoing thing. One race isn't going to win anybody a season. And Daytona obviously doesn't prove anything about the Dynasty Racing League or any of the drivers and how great they are. But, you know, it is restricted plate racing, and there's guys who find themselves up there towards the front no matter what track you're at. And I would say 5 out of the top 5 drivers are very good at doing just that. So just thought I would explain, as far as iRating goes, yes, the competition level here is very, very high. And yes, there is a soft cap on iRating, but there can be other guys invited into the Cup Series depending on how they drive and depending on what other types of racing they do, as that can affect their iRating as well. So we are going to double up here in just a second. I'm going to get back to live this time, Martin, before it's too late. All the people talking in chat. There is a minimum on truck, not a minimum on trucks. There's a maximum on trucks, so a cap on that.
Yeah,
we don't want guys going into trucks
out
with, you know, 2,500 iRating and just dominating everybody down there. This year in the DRL. So as you can tell from the field tonight, there's a huge group of people here in the Cup Series. The same applies for the B Series, and the same applies for the trucks. So you're not going to be able to just, you know, drop down and do one of those lower series to dominate the entire series, because that's not fun for anybody. But there are going to be some guys that are very, very new to iRacing. Maybe guys who don't know what trading paints are. Maybe guys who aren't even familiar with the fact they can change their car number and the color of their uniform and their pit, you know, their pit stall guys and everything like that. Some guys that are pretty new, and that's what we want to welcome. That's what the Truck Series is there for. We want to give those guys an entry into league racing, and hopefully next year have them step up into the B cars, and maybe a year or two after that step into the Cup cars. So DRL will be here for a while, and the racing will get better and better, as we are going to come to a, what do we have?
Yeah,
we're going to go green
on the
at
back stretch.
97, so 4-lap shootout.
Yeah, we're on the back stretch looking at the cars, and we've got Thomas Harmon opting for the inside this time. On the outside, Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad in third, Steve Turner, and then Seth Newell and Chris James. So a lot of those guys surviving that wreck. You know, basically Chris James, Noel, Chris Pope, I thought those guys were all going to go along with Sal and Eric Wolf, and that whole thing, you know, I think Sal just wanted to be in front. He wanted to be the guy leading that charge, not pushing Eric Wolf. So that's how it goes. It's Daytona. Everyone wants to win. But Thomas Harmon got a teammate behind him. He's got Wade Hustad pushing. Harmon takes off. It looks like Burrows is going to be able to slip right in front of Wade Hustad there. Got a great start. Hustad a little slow on the start, leaving a big gap between him and Harmon. Just the right size for Burrows to get into.
I was going to say, almost like he wanted to, just to drop to that inside line and get rid of the outside. But now we have Harmon. Wade,
that outside line's gone.
Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad, and the 9 car of Seth Noel all on that inside line. And they're going to need some strong shoves on the outside. But you know what? The 26 here of Steve Turner could make a strong push for this win if he can get some guys behind him. See if they're able to make it happen.
Well, if they're going to form an outside line, they got to form it now.
Yeah, they're definitely running out of time. The 32 there trying to get on, or what is that? Is that the 31 of Jurgensen? Trying to get in the back of the 26 there of Steve Turner.
Well, it'd be, Steve Turner and Chris James and then Jurgensen. So they're trying to form an outside line. Looked like Noel was thinking about going up there, but if he had tried to go up, it would have been the same situation as before where he would have gotten clipped. Hustad jumps out in front of that line.
Says, all right, guys, let's do this.
Time to go.
A big gap on that inside line now. Wade Hustad with the 26 just behind him has the shove to maybe push him towards the front.
Yeah, there's 4 on the outside, 3 on the inside, but both lines have a little gap between those top 2.
Falling back a little bit, so now we just have 2 wide racing for the front 6. The 7th car there sticking out in the back, the 31 of Jurgensen.
Yeah, there goes Steve Turner and Wade Hustad. Now, is Hustad going to leave Turner out to hang to dry, or is he going to... Yep, he's going to come right down and block Harmon there.
The 7 car of Christopher Pope trying to catch up to this field bad. He's got Mike Springer just behind him. Spencer Tart, Jim Westerfield.
Now Harmon. Harmon's going to jump outside.
Those cars now have caught up as far as the draft goes. Harmon's going to try to move out in front of the 26. Pulls back down inside. Hustad putting the block on
close.
Amazing move. We are now on the white flag. There will be no caution as we come towards the end of this race. Harmon doing everything he can to take the win from the 32 of Wade Hustad. And he's not the only one. We are going to see 3 wide racing in this next corner.
And Burrows is going to try to pinch it. Yeah,
Burrows
and there goes
pushing
Hustad.
hard. He drops to the inside. Harmon drops down with him. And now Hustad has nothing as the 9 car tries to jump down. The 31 of the Nathan Jurgensen gets into him. That's going to cause another accident as Spencer Tart gets collected. And Thomas Harmon looks like he's going to take the victory. Just behind him, the 62 of Anthony Burrows, followed by the 26 of Steve Turner, and Wade Hustad will take the 4th position. Nathan Jurgensen coming back at the end of that race to grab 5th in that number 31 car.
And you know what? I'm not even going to blame that on the 9 car at all, because that was just Wade Hustad falling back. He just lost so much speed when those guys moved from behind him and got in front of him. He lost so much speed they just backed Noel up into the Jurgensen and everyone else behind him.
Yeah, one more time. We're going to watch here from where Spencer Tart was. You see the 28 car.
Yeah, that was. I'm not going to blame that on the 9.
Barely touches the 9.
He just ran out of space.
Everybody straightens back out. The 9 barely clips the apron. He gets a little bit sideways, and he touches the 28 of Spencer Tart. So Spencer Tart has to be very, very unhappy at the end of this one. Led a lot of.
Well, if you got to go back, it's like you have to look at what happens. Like as soon as Harmon and Burrows get in front of Hustad just loses speed, and so Noel runs out of room. And all of a sudden, he gets right into Hustad's bumper and has to kind of bounce out a little bit. And then Jurgensen sticks his nose in there, and that just starts that kind of effect there where Noel is like, well, I got nowhere to go. I'm out of,
Well, Hustad got left out to dry. Thomas Harmon with the awesome move to the outside. Anthony Burrows with the very hard push. He drops down in front of the 32, but Harmon follows. And the 32 has no speed as the 9 gets into the rear of him. So, that was just the 68 and the 62, just textbook driving right around the 32 there at Wade Hustad. The 26 barely able to hold Hustad off at the line. Almost a photo finish between those two guys. But Thomas Harmon and Anthony Burrows, what a move by them there at the end. That was incredible. What a fun race to watch. Very few cautions. The very first race of the Dynasty Racing League Cup Series, that was absolutely awesome. And Thomas Harmon pulls out the victory. So we're going to go down here to Victory Lane and grab him for a quick interview. Thomas Harmon, where are you at, Mr. Harmon? Maybe I should go back up to live action before I pull him in. How's there down here, you know, messing around in front of start-finish line. Thomas Harmon starts in the 10th position, comes away with the win. What a win it was. First win of the first race of the 2019 season, and he gets the victory. Thomas Harmon, you got a copy, sir.
10-4, I got you.
Has your heart slowed down yet?
It has not.
What a win there, man. That was very intense. You and Burrows making that push to the outside. I think we had Ryan Hesgard out in the YouTube channel, or maybe he said it to me privately. I don't remember, but he said if you wanted anybody following you, it was one of those two guys, Hustad or Burrows, and Burrows was able to push you around for the victory. How's it feel, buddy?
It feels good. If it wasn't for Burrows, no way I would have been able to do that, but he stuck with me when he could have pushed it, and I definitely owe him, that's for sure. Wish Wade would finish in the top 3 too. We had a good team plan throughout the day, and it worked out pretty good until the final caution there, and one of our guys got caught up in it. But yeah, without Anthony and Wade working with me there on those last 2 restarts, I almost feel like Denny Hamlin.
It was a heck of a race, man. It was very enjoyable to watch. You looked like you had it all locked up, and then we saw cautions fly, multiple of them in the last 15 laps, and you still came away with the victory, man. You're pretty good at these plate tracks. What do you attribute that to?
Being lucky sometimes, being in the right spot at the right time. My luck hasn't always been there. Last year, twice the leader misshifted when I was right behind him and crunched my hood. I'm just glad that I got a little bit of good luck this time and got a good team. And thanks to Anthony and Nathan Lane for working with us, or Connor Lane, sorry. But yeah, without them, we wouldn't have been able to pull this off. Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, buddy, 6 months from now, you have already found yourself in the playoffs, unless we somehow get 16 plus different winners in the DRL. But already cemented yourself into the playoff runnings here this year. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on the win. Unfortunately, I can't say congratulations on the $1 million and all that stuff like they do at the real Daytona 500. But
that's okay. The win's good enough.
The win is definitely a good thing to have. I think you were only able to grab 1 last year, and you've already got 1 in the first race of the season this year. Let's hear those shout-outs tonight.
Shout out to, I'm going to start off with Anthony. And again, Connor, for working with us. And then all the guys at S2R, all the admins at DRL, you guys up in the booth. Avril being on the car. Good to get her a win.
Got a shout out Avril.
Dimitri for being up in the spot of the tower for me all night and giving me some good calls. I know I probably took a couple years off his life over those last couple laps, but hopefully it was worth it.
You sound like you took a couple years off your life too, buddy.
Oh, having to fight with Wade and Anthony. Do you realize how hard that is?
Hey, listen, I don't run in the Cup cars for a reason, all right? Those guys are just animals all themselves. Even at a plate track where you feel like everybody's even, they're still up there running in the top 5. It's insane, man.
I know. That Wade the run that Wade had, I didn't know how he got such a run. But that's just a testament to how good him and Anthony are, and yeah.
Well, Anthony decided to play fair tonight and gave you the shove to the win, man. Congrats, and we'll see you back next week at Atlanta, man.
Yep, I'll be there. Thank you.
All right, have a good night. That was Thomas Harmon, winner of tonight's race. Absolutely awesome race by him. And now we're going to go down and grab the guy who shoved him into the win. That would be Anthony Burrows in that 62 car. He started 5th this evening. Again, very young driver. Was one of the favorites to win everything last year. He comes away with the 2nd place tonight. Let's go see how he feels. Anthony Burrows, you got a copy.
Yeah, I got you.
I can't say I'm not used to talking to you, man. You shoved Thomas Harmon to the victory. What were you thinking in that moment? Did you want to move and take it 3 wide and try to get the win, or were you satisfied with second?
Never really satisfied with second, but I mean, I was working with Thomas, Wade, Joe Held, like all of them all race, so um, I didn't necessarily want to push him to it. I wanted to make a move at some point, but with the package, it makes that kind of difficult. But yeah, not too upset with second, and very happy for Thomas for getting that win.
Yeah, I saw you. You basically, well, you didn't run out of time, right? You made the correct move. So you shoved him around the 32 of Hustad, and you quickly jumped to the inside line, but you didn't have enough of a run to get your nose inside of Harmon before he smartly also jumped to that inside line. So I think you made all the right decisions there at the end. It was just Harmon made the perfect decision at the perfect moment and dropped in front of you exactly when he had to. Because if he hadn't and you got the nose in front of him, Hustad would have pushed you to a victory, and Harmon probably would have finished third, fourth, or maybe even fifth.
Yeah, for sure. Both of them were making some pretty aggressive moves, but yeah, they definitely paid out.
Well, again, not that I'm not used to seeing you up here, and I expect to continue to see you throughout the rest of the season. Young guy, one of our best drivers in the DRL. We're happy to have you back. Do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give this evening? Congrats on that second place finish in the very first race of the 2019 season.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast as always. Shout out to Thomas for getting the win. Wade, Spencer Tart, Connor Lane, Joseph Held, all of them for working with me during that one. We all worked together, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, Anthony. Well, we will see you next week at Atlanta. Go out and get some practice, and we look forward to very similar racing next week.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you guys.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
And the last of the people for us to bring in here is going to be Steve Turner. He started in the 14th spot in that beautiful American flag car he's got out there. That 26 car, got the stars all over it, red, white, and blue, striped. Looks gorgeous. Steve Turner. Martin, is this our very first interview with Steve Turner? I don't know if we've ever had him up here before. Maybe
Yeah, I
once
don't
during
think
the
we've had him up
Winter
here. Yeah, maybe during the Winter Series, but
So
can't
this
recall.
is a monumental moment for Mr. Turner. Steve Turner, you got a copy.
Yes, sir, I do. How's it going?
Hey, so I was just talking to Martin. Is this the very first time we've ever interviewed you, sir?
For Cup Series, yes. Pro Series and the Winter Oval Series, no.
I was going to say, I think we got you in the Winter Series once, but very first race of the 2019 season. Looked like you had a chance to win it there for a little while. Not only there at the end of the race, but early before that last caution flag flew, you were out there running fairly well up in the front. How do you feel about a third place to start the season off, man?
It was a lot of fun out there today. We had a couple guys working with us. They had some issues, so we didn't have as many guys working together. The three guys up front, Burrows, Hustad, and Harmon all worked together, so it was kind of hard to get around them. But one heck of a race, one awesome finish. I can't believe we ended up beating them out just by a little bit there at the end. Had a lot of fun, led some laps. It was an all-around good race.
Oh, great move, dipping there to the outside of Hustad at the end of that one. He had nobody real close behind him to shove him to the victory, and you were able to nose him out. I didn't go down and look at the photo finish, but it was definitely a photo finish, man. Congrats on third place. I hope to see you back in Atlanta and many more races this season. Would you like to give a shout out to anybody tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to my teammates. We were working with Nathaniel Jurgensen and John Theodore, helping me out throughout the whole race. Just kind of sucks they weren't up there to get able to up there with us to help us out, but good racing all around. I'll see you guys next week at Atlanta.
Yeah, I know Theodore's got to be fairly disappointed. You can send my condolences to him with the way his race went. I don't think Jurgensen finished so bad compared to where he was midway through that race when he decided to stick his nose out in that outside line and then just got dusted by the whole inside line and stuck in the second pack. So I think it worked out okay for him. But
yeah, he made a nice recovery.
Yeah, great recovery for him to come back and get that fifth place finish. But congrats again on third, man, and we'll see you next week at Atlanta, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, have a good night. That was Nathan Jurgens, or I'm sorry, that was Steve Turner, your third place finisher for this evening. I don't know, Martin. That was a great race, man. I had a good time. I can't believe it went caution free for as long as it did. And I said cautions breed cautions, but they didn't happen in the way I thought they would happen. They didn't happen because of over aggressive craziness. They happened because of good, honest mistakes and just racing at Daytona.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch.
Yeah, especially that last restart. I mean, I mean, like I said, like
Harmon and Hustad.
Sure, we mentioned Jurgensen. I mean, Jurgensen kind of took out there at the end with Seth Newell and everything, but that was simply just a chain reaction of what was happening with those top three guys: Hustad, Harmon, and Burrows. And Hustad, like when Burrows and Harmon went to the outside, Hustad just lost speed, and that just kind of sandwiched everyone right behind him.
Yeah. Hustad and Harmon were jousting for that position for 2.5 laps before that all happened. So it is what it is. It was an absolutely fantastic race. I'm very, very happy with the way that race went this evening. The next race of this series will be at Atlanta. That is next Monday night. Me and Martin will be right back here with you at 9:20 p.m. Eastern. We'll actually do qualifying that night, unlike this evening, and I hope to God there are no silly technical issues at the beginning of the night.
Yeah, and I hope there's 35 drivers again out there. I mean, I want to see Atlanta 35 drivers.
Yeah, it was fun.
I want to see how they deal with it, because Atlanta is a slick track. Depends on the temperature. I mean, I think it was last year, or it was in the Winter Series or something. Or it was in the Winter Series 2 years ago, before the big
high temperatures.
It was just like super hot slick for the B split, for the lower split. And then the A split didn't have as high, but then when we got to the main race, all the guys that got in there, the B split guys, were able to handle that a little better, because suddenly the temperatures were cooler than they had been dealing with, just slipping and sliding everywhere.
Exactly.
And that was back in those trucks, but last year was, even in the Cup cars and the Grand National cars and the trucks, it was a little bit slippery, and so it's going to be interesting. Hopefully this field comes out 35 cars again.
Yeah, it's a 1.54 mile track. We'll do 162 laps there, so 250 laps. It's a lot like a Texas. It's a very quick track, like a Charlotte.
And the restarts the starts are going to be the tricky thing too.
It's going to be important.
Tires.
We're going to see that usual. That's what it's going to come down to, Martin, is the saving tires thing, because there is a couple lanes at Atlanta, but there's not.
Tires rip off there.
It depends on how you drive the car. It's a one-lane track if everybody's driving hard, and saving as much, even if it's just a little bit every lap, the tires are going to be so important. So we'll see that next Monday night. Me and Martin will be right back here with you with the DRL Cup Series. The next broadcast for DRL TV will be tomorrow night. That's in that Grand National Series, the B cars here, right back here in Atlanta, 2.5 miles and 80 laps on that one, so 25 less miles tomorrow night. But we'll be back here at Daytona. Going to be more exciting racing. There are some very good drivers in that one, and
I hope I can finish where I did last year in this race.
I'll tell you, Martin has stepped himself up into the B series, so Martin will be back here racing in that one tomorrow.
Hey, I finished better in the Grand National Daytona race last year than I did in the truck one, so.
Well,
that's my hope.
We got you jumping into this one, and then we have the likes of S2R, who have grown as a racing team.
There's some guys, Matt Kleinschmidt, I know. Up there. Kleinschmidt's coming up from the trucks as well. So
yeah, I think
a couple guys, and
I don't know if
there's a number of brand new guys to League 2.
Yeah, I don't know if Hebel jumped up into B cars.
No, Hebel still
some new guys in the league period, and then some guys who came up from trucks from the year prior. Like I said, we will have a lot of new drivers in the trucks this year who are not just brand new to DRL, but brand new to iRacing. So that'll be exciting. That'll come on Wednesday evening at the same time, right back here at Daytona. And now we're going to run through the credits. Thank you to all the viewers for tuning in tonight. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for making
we got a lot of
TV possible.
Credits. Got a lot of new, a lot of guys stepping up to help out with race control. So that's.
I mean, we have to
finally getting
the way the league is growing and the amount of people that we're adding every day. Big shout out, not only to James and the owners and all the guys who we talk about week in and week out. Myself, Martin, David, and Getty. Those guys. We all put in the work week in and week out, but it's all the guys that we can add in every week or every month.
Just give us
stepped up.
It allows us. Yeah, it allows the main guys to be able to step back. It allows us to race too.
Yeah, well,
It allows me to race on Tuesday. It allows you to race.
Do
Yeah.
better and better things for the league
Mhm.
and adjust things and allow more.
And we don't get burned
laps.
out. Hopefully, we won't get as burned out over because it's a long season. It's 36 races, or
It's a
at least for the
very
Cup, it's
long
36
season.
races. But over that whole 40 weeks or whatever it is.
Exactly. So
You
big
know.
thanks to Derek Pemberton, to Eric
Yeah.
Weatherholtz, to David Lindahl, Robbie Armstrong, Ryan Hesgard, Dakota Wilkins, Jeremy Hebel, Richard Springer, all the guys who have stepped up in one way or another, and then obviously, all the guys who are part of the admin crew here at DRL. You know who you are. You know how much we appreciate you, and hopefully the rest of the league appreciates you. And
Yeah.
obviously,
They're
the
willing.
one person not on the credits, because you can't really put them on the credits, but all the viewers out there that watch the race every week. We know a lot of you guys have a family member or a friend that's in the Dynasty Racing League, but regardless, we thank you for tuning in, and we hope you share with friends and family if you enjoyed the broadcast tonight. And me and Martin will be back with you next Monday. And I believe it is Getty Buckner and David Lindahl joining you tomorrow night. Actually, no. Who's Getty Buckner joining?
Wellborn. No, it's gonna be Wellborn and Lindahl. The Davids will be tomorrow. The Davids will be running.
Getty's
will be broadcasting.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Getty's
Getty is up.
tomorrow.
Yeah, Getty's up in Grand National. Eric Weatherholtz is jumping up. Yeah, him. It's Getty, Eric Weatherholtz, Andrew Short, who hasn't done a lot of oval racing.
It'll be
did a little more of the road stuff.
The Davids.
Yeah, the Davids.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, and we'll see. Yeah, out on the track, you'll have that whole. What is Getty's team? The SGK Racing, Susan G. Komen breast cancer awareness thing. So they're all driving those cool pink cars. I think that Bill Edwards painted again.
Everything like that.
Oh yeah,
another
cool.
Bill Edwards there at Fatal Concepts, guys. Reach out to him. Anybody in iRacing that plays the game, uses trading paints, whatever. Reach out to Bill Edwards. He makes some awesome paint schemes. He puts some time into it. They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive by any means. If you're willing to pay for somebody's time, he does a great job. So have a great night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in once again, and we'll see you back next week. Have a good night.
Yep.